Welcome to Legal Marketing Minutes, where I share short bursts of current marketing news and advice. I'm Nancy Myrland. If we haven't met, I'm a marketing, business development, content, social, and digital media speaker, trainer, and advisor for lawyers and legal marketers in mid to large-sized law firms. Your time is valuable, so let's get started, okay? Today we're going to talk about how you can become a social media pro. And I know that sounds a little like, why do I need to be a pro? And that's all relative. It may mean a pro to you may mean that you just want to get really good at it. Or it might mean that you want to help others in your firm become good at it. For whatever that means to you, let's just assume that you want to be really good at using social media to build your practice. And it can be done, and it is important, and it is an amazing set of tools that we have at our disposal to accelerate and nurture relationships with those with whom we want to do business. This morning, I listened to a podcast that Baer of Convince and Convert and Adam Brown of Salesforce host, and it's called Social Pros. I've had it for a long time. It's really very, very good. And they interviewed Lisa Kalner Williams. She's the product marketing manager of Agorapulse. And one of the questions they asked her is, what does it take? How do you become a social media pro? And her comment was, you need to be a social media amateur first. And I love that comment because it is, and I'm guilty of this too when I take on a new tactic or I meet a new platform, which I do on a regular basis because I am, one, not only curious and a constant adopter. Well, that would be number two. I'm a constant adopter of new tools. But three, I want to try things every now and then because I want to know whether or not I should recommend them to my clients. So I found it very interesting when she said that because on all of those tools, and when I started in social media back in, 2006, I think might be when I opened my first account on one of the platforms. And then about 2008 is when I added it to my Myrland marketing business and then retitled as Myrland Marketing in Social Media. Well, Lisa's point is very well taken because when I started, I sure wasn't a pro. I wouldn't even call myself a pro now because that's not for me to say. That's for others to say about me. But I didn't start in the middle. I wrote a blog post a few years back called No One Starts in the Middle because they don't. None of us start in the middle. We can learn a lot. We can immerse ourselves in the education of social media. We can read, listen. We can consume massive amounts of information. But until we actually do it and use the platforms, we aren't going to advance. We're not going to get any better. And you know what's nice about this is that people understand that. They don't expect for you to be perfect right out of the gate. You know what? I may have a hem and a haw in this broadcast. You know what? So what? I mean, it's as if we're in regular conversation, and sometimes I'll have that. I will probably edit out a few of them if I really didn't like the way something sounded, but this is different. This is pre-produced content. When we're talking about social media and having conversations with people, conversations are real. They're just that. When you and I meet on the street or at an event, and now on social media, we don't make the perfect words and we don't make the perfect sentences to one another. It's not that way. It's a conversation. So my message for you today is don't expect to be a pro in these spaces, as Lisa said, until you become an amateur first. And being an amateur at something is not a bad thing. I'm an amateur at tools on a very regular basis, and I just have to push myself and know that that's okay. It's okay to be an amateur. So don't let this stop you from diving into a tool that you are curious about or that you suspect might be good for building your practice. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to look back. I've done this with a couple things in the past, and then I just get mad at myself. You're going to look back in a year or 2 years or 3 years and say, why didn't I start that, darn it? Why didn't I just dive in? You know what? People have passed me. What is it going to take now for me to jump in? And you may convince yourself it's too late, which it won't be. I mean, we really, in the grand scheme of things, in digital media, we are still in many ways in the wild, wild west of social and digital media. Sure, many of us have become, polished or sophisticated in our use of some of the tools. But you know what? New tools come around on a very regular basis. So don't let that stop you. Don't expect to be a pro before you ever get started, okay? It just isn't going to happen. You weren't a pro before you started practicing law or before you got into legal marketing. You had to study before you were able to help your clients, both internal and external, become good at what they do or to advise them at what they do. So, same thing with social and digital media. Don't raise those expectations too high, all right? All right. Well, that's it for today's Legal Marketing Minutes briefing. Do me a favor and let me know your thoughts about any of the topics I've discussed today by emailing me at nancy@myrlandmarketing.com, and that's MYRLAND marketing.com. Or if you're on a platform where you can leave a comment, please do that. You can also find me on my blog always at myrlandmarketing.com. Also, I invite you to join my Facebook group, which you can find by searching Facebook for Social Media for Lawyers and Legal Marketers with Nancy Myrland. When you do, let me know this is how you found out about the group. Well, until next time, thank you so much for spending a few legal marketing minutes with me. I know your time is valuable, so I appreciate you spending a few of them with me. Until next time, I'm Nancy Myrland. Take care.